Hey there folks, in this video I'm going to show you my self-hosted photo and video app that I just installed and got up and running. It's a way to be able to solve the issue whether you're on iCloud or Google Photos or both, where all of your photos and videos are there and you don't want to keep paying that monthly subscription for the data that you have there, but then you want to move your library somewhere else and it's well, for lack of a better description, difficult, especially if you're not very familiar with how to run certain programs to be able to do things like that, to be able to migrate your data over to another service or your computer. Then we're also going to take a look at what this little guy does and how it can help you solve a very annoying problem, at least an annoying problem to me that I run into quite often. And then I also have a rechargeable battery little rig that I put together for my door knob, my electric doorknob. There was one issue that I had with it, and that's not knowing the state of the battery as far as how much charge is on it. So I found something that is going to solve that. So let's go ahead and start with the self-hosted photos and video app. All right, here's the dashboard that I'm using right now with all the different services that I have running on my home server here. We'll get into the rest of these apps on a later video, but the one I want to look at right now is this one called Image. And this is a photo and video hosting app, and it's very similar to either Google Photos or iCloud, and in the sense of how it organizes your library. The big difference is that this is hosted on my own server here, and the server being this little Mac Mini, and all of that data, all the photo data are on these hard drives here. So everything is backed up so that if anything happens, then all of my photos are safe. But nonetheless, this little server right here is giving me access to my entire library on all of my devices, whether I'm here at home or away from home, because I did set up a reverse proxy to be able to access all of this when I'm outside of my network here. So it gives you a lot of options here, which I'm not going to cover in this video. We could save that for another video, but I do want to show you something here. Take a look at that. 690 gigs of data. And I'm still migrating over a few more libraries that I have that I had archived from a while ago. And now that I have this self-hosted app, I'm going to be uploading everything that I have so that it's in one location and I can find it easily. Now, the biggest reason that I'm using the self-hosted solution is for the simple fact that if at any point I want to cancel my iCloud subscription or Google Photos subscription or any other photo hosting service that I may be paying for, like Adobe Lightroom, there's photos scattered everywhere. So if I no longer want my data to be hosted on the services, and or I don't want to pay for extra storage, now that I have everything located here locally on my own server, I can just cancel the subscription and let them delete all of my data, and I'm not worried about it because I know that I have everything here at home backed up. Now, I can also decide, make the choice that I don't want any cloud services hosting my photos and videos, and I just want to have it here at home. I can also do that very easily. However, being that almost everything is in my iCloud as far as personal photos and videos, I'm going to keep that going because I'm going to pay for that service anyway, because I'm in the whole Apple ecosystem. I use everything. So in terms of services like Apple News, I use the Apple Arcade, I use, the iCloud, but then I also use iCloud Plus, which gives me the ability to be able to also host email outside of just the iCloud email. So I get a lot of benefits, and I'm really fully into the whole Apple ecosystem, so I don't mind paying that subscription fee. So I'm going to keep my photos and videos there. But should I change my mind? I have everything here at home, and I can just cancel it and be done with it. No, I don't have to worry about downloading all of my photos, all of my videos, and hoping that everything got downloaded. It's always been a fear of mine where I go to archive a big collection of photos and videos, and I don't know for a fact if I have everything, and I don't want to take that risk because there's a lot of memories there spanning way back to like 2002 in photos. So now here's the other cool thing. As I mentioned, I've been importing all of my photos and videos from different archives that I have. I have a lot of duplicates, but again, I didn't want to delete anything because I just wasn't sure. I wasn't 100% sure. And I found a utility that imports your library, whether it be from the Google Archive format or a folder full of photos and videos. It gives you a lot of options that way. And it's called Image Go. And let me show you a screenshot of what was going on while it was running. So this is what it looks like when it's running. It runs in terminal. Now, the thing that I want to point out here is the fact that in this job, it was looking at 14,000 images and 4,500 videos. And in the process, it identifies if you already have the same photo or video of the same quality, it'll skip those. And if it doesn't, it'll upload it to the server. So very quickly, this app right here identifies whether or not you already have the photo and video on your existing library, and it won't bring it in if you do. So in essence, that eliminates duplicates. Now, the other cool thing is that if it detects that the server has a lower quality, then it'll take the one that you're copying over and replace it. In that sense, it calls it a server's asset upgraded. So like when I took the screenshot, there was one. And then also if it's looking at a file that it's bringing in and the quality is less than what's on the server, then it'll notify it right here. Server has better quality, so it'll skip that. So with this running, I imported a ton of photos and videos. And that gave me peace of mind to know that it's analyzing all of my files, but on top of analyzing files, it's not just looking at the file name, it's looking at the metadata embedded in the file. It's looking at the image itself to see which one has better quality, and then makes decisions based on that. So as soon as I imported everything that I had, I still have a few more libraries to import, but I've already imported the bulk of my library. I was able to go back to the original folders where I had all of those files and delete them out without worrying that I didn't capture everything. So if this sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments, and then I will put in some time to make a dedicated video. I still plan to make a dedicated video on how this image self-hosting app works and how you can get it going. I will be doing that, but I'll put more priority on it if you let me know in the comments that that is something that you're interested in. And now for my next peace of mind upgrade, let's talk about this little guy. All it is, it's a real simple little gadget. It's just a USB Type-C adapter with a LCD display that will show you once it's transferring power, it'll show you the voltage, it'll show you the amperage, and it'll show you the wattage. Now the use case scenario for this little guy is the fact that USB Type-C, although it's very convenient, it also has a lot of little quirks, and the connector is made to be able to plug in either direction. However, when it comes to charging your devices, Sometimes, actually, quite often, it does matter which way you plug it in. If you plug it in, let's say in this orientation, you may not be getting the full charging speed out of your charger. And if you flip it over and plug it in, then you'll get the full charging speed. Let me show you what I mean. Now, for demonstration purposes, I've got my MacBook Pro here, and then I've got a USB Type-C cable here, and I've got my desk charger here. This desk charger has the wattage readout, so I can quickly show you what I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna plug this cable in this orientation, and right now we can see that it's charging 5 volts at 2.9 amps, so 14 watts. Now, for a laptop, that's slow. That's going to take forever to charge. In fact, if I were to use my laptop right now, that won't even be enough power to charge the battery while you're using the laptop. Now watch this. I'm going to take this cable, I'm going to turn it around, plug it back in, and look what happens immediately. It jumped up immediately to 20 volts at 4.3 amps. And now it's charging at 90 watts, which is the maximum wattage that a USB Type-C cable can carry to charge the MacBook Pro. So if you don't have that readout information, you can see how that creates a problem. You know, you're plugging in your device thinking, it's charging, and it may be charging very slow, where, an hour later you might disconnect it and wonder, why is it only, charged up to 25% or 30% or something like that? And it's because of the orientation of the connector. Now, not all chargers have that issue, or cables have that issue. It's not really an issue, but it's just the way that they're made, manufactured. But the only way that you'll know whether or not it is charging at the faster rate is using something like this. Now, let me show you what this one looks like. This is a little cheap one I found on Amazon, but check it out. All right, so I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to put this in between. The text is reading in the opposite direction, but you can see that it's charging at 93.3 watts. And then it'll go to the amps, 4.6 amps, and then at 20 volts. So you can see that we're getting the full speed out of this charger. Now, if I were to flip this cable like we did earlier, we'll see the same information where it's going to cap off at 5 volts, 3 amps. So there's 5 volts there, 14 or 15 watts. It's showing 15.9 watts. So as you can see, it's giving you the information here to let you know that in this orientation, you're not getting the full speed. So all we got to do now, flip it over. And immediately it negotiates the higher voltage and wattage. I'll go ahead and link all of the products that I'm talking about in this video in the description below. They're going to be affiliate links, so I make a small little commission, but it doesn't change the price of the product. It's just to help me out continue to be able to do videos like this one. Now, as I mentioned, this is an electric door knob. On the opposite end, I just punch in my code and it'll unlock the door. Now, this would use 6 batteries, 6 AA batteries, and I just got tired of changing out the batteries, and not to mention the cost of it. I was changing the batteries probably once every couple months. Now, you're probably wondering, why not just buy rechargeable AA batteries and you're achieving the same thing? Very true. However, I'm a DIY guy, especially when it comes to electronics. So I had to, come up with my own solution rather than taking a shortcut. So, and not to mention, that's the way I learn. I learn how to do these type of things by simply doing. So now the issue that I was running into here is I got an 18650 rechargeable battery here, hooked up to a little BMS. I got the little charging module here. The problem is I never know when it's about to die. and or when it's running low on charge and I need to recharge it. And the issue there is that when I am planning to come into the studio and I go to punch in my code and there's not enough power on the battery, I can't get in. Then I got to go get the physical key to use the physical key to get into the studio, which is inconvenient, especially if I can't find the keys. So I wanted to figure out a way to be able to check the state of the battery. I came up with an idea, so let me show you. I'm a big fan of AliExpress and Temu. I know they get a bad rap, especially online. A lot of people joke about the products that they sell. And, you know, there are some really ridiculous things that they do sell. But when it comes to electronics, once you figure out how to navigate through the different products that are promoted on those websites, then you really land on some really good electronic products. And one of the things that I like to do is test things out. You know, so AliExpress and Temu are marketplaces where I can get things very cheap, so that if I got an idea, I can bring in components that are, in terms of cost, cheap. And so if my idea doesn't work out, then it's not a big loss there. But if I were to go and try to get those same exact products out of Amazon, or let's say Mauser or DigiKey, I'm going to pay like 3 times more, which if I'm just experimenting, you know, I'd rather go the other route. So to solve that issue with the battery to check its charge state, this was my first idea, is this little display here. And the idea is I just wire this up to the battery, and then the little LCD readout right here will show me the percentage, or not the percentage, but the voltage that is currently on the battery. The issue with this is that if it stays on, it's going to be drawing power out of that battery, and it's going to shorten the amount of time it'll last with enough charge to be able to operate the door lock. So then I thought, well, I'll just bring this in and then I'll add a switch. But there again, that's already 2 more little devices I gotta solder in. I wasn't too happy about that idea, so I kept searching through AliExpress and Temu, and I found this guy. It has this little button right here, it says test. So the only time this meter is going to be reading and drawing power from the battery is when you push this button. And it's only going to illuminate these LEDs right here for just long enough for you to be able to read it, and then it'll shut off. So as soon as it shuts off, it stops drawing power from the battery. So this little unit solves the issue. So that's going to be on my list of things to do. I'm going to be integrating this little guy into the door lock there, so that I can check the battery state and know when I need to recharge that battery before it dies and locks me out of the studio. And for now, I'm just going to wire this in and probably hot glue it somewhere on there. But down the road, I'm going to look into maybe designing a 3D printed box that'll house everything. It'll house the battery, the charging module, the step-up voltage module, and this little guy. That way, it's something a little more customized and not exposed to the elements. Now, as I said, I'm a big fan of AliExpress and Temu. Let me show you. This is just one of many bins that I have, and I have just a bunch of various different little pieces of electronics and hardware. That way, whatever little projects I want to work on, I've got what I need in here. Everything from switches to, you know, resistors to little test PCB boards, more switches, you know, LEDs, capacitors. I mean, just a ton of stuff. And this is just one of my bins. I have several more bins. I got all these bins up here full with little components and stuff from Temu and AliExpress. I tell you, AliExpress and Temu are a great source when it comes to low-cost products that are excellent for testing. If you watched my last video, I quickly showed you my space here, and spent a little bit of time, and I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, opened up more space. That way I can move around a little easier. And then I added the tools that I had over here, my DeWalt tools, up on the wall here. So now I've got all of my drills and chargers and everything right here. And then I consolidated what I had here originally. This little cart right here used to be over here. So now it's in here, and that opened up more space for me to work here in the shop. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions about anything that I covered in this video, let me know in the comments, or if you have any suggestions, also drop them in the comments. And I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, if you're new here, my name is Adrian with Project Ramos, and I would appreciate it if you were to subscribe to the channel or just hit like so that you'll see more of my content. And I will see all of you on the next one.